So I don't watch a lot of tech content on YouTube. I just find it fairly boring now. But I do enjoy watching a lot of iPad videos mainly because of two reasons. First, the iPad itself is very attractive to look at. It's at least the full screen one. It's very beautiful. Secondly, it's very fascinating to see people share how they use it and for what they use it. But one thing in common in all these iPad videos is the fact that the person who is actually making the video, the person who's also using the iPad, loves his or her iPad and finds it very useful. Almost everyone. So I actually I, I actually thought, why not I try to use one for a while and figure out if they're actually this useful or they're just still a piece of luxury like they were when they initially came out. But the problem was I don't have, this is the 2012 iPad. It's not functional anymore. uh, and I didn't have a new iPad, so I obviously contacted अनिल पाल. अनिल भाई,
हाँ भाई,
एक वीडियो बनाना है.
बनाओ ना भाई.
आईपैड का वीडियो बनाना है.
मिल जाएगा भाई, मिल जाएगा मतलब.
कीबोर्ड भी चाहिए.
हाँ वही मिल जाएगा, उसमें क्या है.
ठीक है, अगले कट में iPad होगा. Now, truth be told, this is not the 8th generation basic iPad that Apple just announced. It's the first generation 9.7 inch iPad Pro from 2015 or 16. But it is actually very similar to the latest, cheapest iPad Apple ships right now. They both have the same design with big bezels and a home button. They both connect to the same smart keyboard. They both support only the first generation Apple Pencil. And even though they have different displays, cameras, and processors, they have the same software, which is iPadOS 14. Now, I am a student actually. I am preparing for a few entrance exams. Even I thought that I was not, my education was over for me, but it's not. It just keeps going on and on. But my setup for when I'm studying on my table looks like this. Firstly, there is a book which has questions in it. I call it the question book. Then there is a notebook which has notes in it. And then there is another notebook where I solve the questions from the question book while referring to the notes in the first notebook. And then finally, there is a massive laptop, which is also called a notebook by a lot of manufacturers, by the way. I use it to find solutions to the questions I get wrong. But as you can see, the laptop takes an insane amount of space. However, an iPad attached to a keyboard blends in just so comfortably in this scenario. And this is, for me at least, easily the USP of an iPad coming from a massive laptop. The rest of the stuff about the iPad is definitely exciting, but as I use it more and more, I not only found new features in iPadOS, new apps in the App Store, and new keyboard shortcuts, but also the various limitations in this entire package. Like in the iPad, there is just one port, and it's a Lightning port, which can only be used to charge. So you'll have to get a dongle if you want to plug in anything, which is extra kharcha. And speaking of extra kharcha, the iPad starts at 30,000 rupees. But that's with only 32 GB storage. Not even 64. 32. 32. So for most people, technically the iPad actually starts with for 38,000 rupees with 128 GB storage. But then once you get the iPad itself, you realize that it's a really great, incredibly thin, very beautiful piece of glass that can become just about anything you want it to be. But you can't always be holding such a giant display using the virtual keyboard. You would need a physical keyboard. So you can spend some money like 15,000 rupees and get a smart keyboard. And the first time you'll use it, you'll actually be blown away by just how easily the iPad connects to the keyboard. In fact, you'll get addicted to magnets. But then you'll type on it, and initially you'll be extremely surprised in a bad way, because it will be unlike any keyboard you'd have used before. The keys will not be very tactile, but they will be extremely sensitive, and you'll keep pressing the tilde key because you would think that it's the escape key. There is no escape key. But slowly, as you'll get used to it thanks to the autocorrect and predictive text, you'll start touching the screen less and start using the keyboard more. But then you'll find that the keyboard is not yet supported by a lot of apps and games that you might use on a daily basis, which will again make you use the screen a lot. As far as what you see on screen itself is concerned, which is iPadOS, that is pretty interesting. It has a few features like desktop browsing, which finally gives me access to my actual YouTube analytics and lets me know that most of you who are watching this video are not subscribed, which is, there is no logic in that. Please subscribe. There is also multitasking, which is great. There is also mouse support, which is very convenient. And then there are incredible apps, which have always been a very strong point of the Apple ecosystem. And all of this actually brings the iPad much closer to an actual computer or a laptop, and in some cases more convenient than a laptop. But the entire package, all the accessories, all the software power, everything, it's still so far away from a laptop. The iPad basically is a screen with software preloaded. If you want to use it like a laptop, you'll have to buy an external keyboard, which is expensive. If you want to write notes on it, you'll have to buy an Apple Pencil, which is expensive. If you want to connect stuff to it, you'll have to buy a dongle, which is not cheap. If you want to maximize it and take complete advantage of the iPad, you'll have to invest in apps, which are again very expensive. But for the right person, it can actually be of great value for the person who actually knows why they need an iPad. But for the rest of the people, including me, it's a luxury. But it's a lot of fun. It's so much fun that I'm actually more excited about the iPad Air now, because it fixes on a lot of things. It does not have a Lightning port. It has a Type-C port. It connects to the Magic Keyboard, which has a built-in trackpad. It connects to the Apple Pencil, or the Apple Pencil connects to the iPad magnetically. So I'm actually very excited for that, even though I know it's not going to benefit me a lot, but just the sturdy keyboard and trackpad alone make me more excited for the iPad. Okay, that's it. This was a quick video on the iPad. Expect extensive and very unique coverage of the iPad Air when that comes out, and also the iPhone 12. Man, Apple season is on and I'm excited. Okay, that's it. Talk to you in the next one. Bye.